Denver 7 Now is sponsored by Ferguson and BAC Appliance Center, the best in bath, kitchen, and lighting for your home.
I'm Ann Trujillo with the latest from Denver 7. Police told Spencer Erickson to come out with his hands up. Erickson couldn't do that. He was asleep, waking up just in time to see a dog sink its teeth into his neck. Those details and the gruesome images that go with them only scratch the surface of a lawsuit filed against Lakewood police. Denver 7's Megan Lopez explains what the lawsuit claims and the reason police were looking for Erickson in the first place.
Life can change in an instant. For Spencer Erickson,
he has never been a source of any sort of violence.
That instant happened last September in this apartment off Hamden Avenue. Erickson's lawyer Adam Frank says his client's roommate called Lakewood police, claiming he caused property damage and saying he had warrants out for his arrest.
They show up with at least 6 police officers and a police dog.
Officers texted and called Erickson, but he didn't respond.
He was dead asleep. All they had to do was walk in, wake him up, and handcuff him.
Instead, a lawsuit filed against Lakewood police claims officers sent a canine named Finn in to find him.
Spencer wakes up with the dog about 2 feet away from him with a bark. He hears a loud bark, his eyes open, and the dog's jaws just clamp onto his throat.
Officers followed and tried to get the dog to let go of Erickson, but it didn't listen at first.
It exposed his jugular vein.
The lawsuit says Erickson suffered severe injuries to his neck and
he's been diagnosed with PTSD. He has real trouble sleeping. It affects him on a daily basis.
In the end, he was charged with and pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor. Frank believes officers violated Erickson's Fourth Amendment rights, saying that canine has a history of violence.
In 2015, this dog attacked an officer during a training exercise and bit that officer in the face.
The lawsuit also claims officers falsified their reports to cover up the incident. For Erickson,
what we're looking for is justice. What we are looking for is an acknowledgement by Lakewood that this can never happen again, that they can never send a dog like this in a low-level situation.
6 officers were named in that lawsuit. Erickson's lawyer says they want the dog to be removed from the police force and for Erickson to be compensated. Now, for its part, the city of Lakewood says it cannot respond because of pending litigation. Denver's attempts to crack down on Airbnb abuse isn't making the service any less popular. Airbnb says Denver hosts made $30 million in profits from Memorial Day through Labor Day, and that amounts to 185,000 guests. In all, Colorado homeowners generated nearly $150 million over the summer. A charter school in Fort Collins is the first in Colorado to win an exemption from teaching sex ed the state's way. Liberty Common tells Denver 7 sex ed is limited to what is taught in its 5th and 7th grade science classes. In other words, strictly biological. And because of that, they have no use for new standards that include issues like consent or LGBTQ inclusion. The battle over who will control the Broncos wages on, and the main players are the family members of the late owner, Pat Bowlen. Daughters Amy Clemmer and Beth Bowlen Wallace filed a motion on Friday claiming their father was lacking in mental capacity when he signed documents planning out the trust in 2009. Now, it was announced publicly in 2014 that Pat Bowlen was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but is believed to have been in decline for some time. Pat's younger daughter, Brittany, is the leadership's favorite to take over. 3 months ago, no one in our state was considered to be living in a drought zone. Well, that number is now at nearly 90,000 people. And this map was just released this week from the U.S. Drought Monitor, and the sections shaded in yellow are considered abnormally dry. That's the lowest classification. The tan section in the lower southwest corner involves areas going through moderate drought. The road to El Dorado Canyon State Park is a crowded one, and Parks and Wildlife officials know it. That's why they're mapping out a plan to make things more manageable at the Boulder destination. Now, one idea is to require visitors to RSVP. Another is to shuttle people in. Both could help alleviate the awful traffic and terrible parking situation.
If you're driving all the way up from Denver, it's a real bummer, even if you get here at 7 o'clock, to find out that it's all taken and then you have to turn around.
CPW wants to hear from you. Weigh in on what you want to see changed at El Dorado right now by heading to thedenverchannel.com and clicking on this story. A Lakewood woman believed money raised to cover her husband's funeral expenses was as good as gone. Turns out all it took was a call from Contact 7 to straighten it out.
He was larger than life to me. And we had a really good marriage. We really did. And I miss him a lot.
Linda Olivetti lost her husband Frank earlier this year.
He passed away April 19th, Good Friday.
Her daughter set up a fundraiser on Facebook.
It was for everything. It was for, if I needed help with funeral, for expenses, whatever I needed it for.
More than $3,000 in donations came in.
I tried everything. She tried everything. My daughter tried everything, and they wouldn't respond.
The fundraiser was set up by her daughter using her bank account, but under Linda's name. And with all those wires crossed, the money wasn't coming in.
I figured I lost it altogether, and that was really sad.
Until she called Contact 7.
As soon as you talked to them, I don't know what you did, but they responded pretty quickly.
Facebook sent an email to Linda saying they would be donating $3,132.22 to your account to replace the funeral expenses that were paid out to the incorrect bank account.
I'm so grateful I could almost cry right now, actually, because I don't think I would have ever got it. I ran out of options, and you guys were very, very gracious to help me, and I'm really, really thankful for you.
So glad to help. Now from the First Alert Weather Center, here's a look at your forecast. Prepare for warm and toasty this weekend. Saturday with a high of 85, Sunday a high of 90. This has been your Denver 7 On Demand update. Thanks so much for joining us, and check back here later tonight for another update, and download the Denver 7 app for breaking news and alerts. I'm Ann Trujillo.